Hello everyone, this is Steve Anderson with Work Camper News, and I'm with you on this recording to give you an overview of the upcoming NRVIA Conference and Awards Banquet. It's the first annual event that's taking place on the 25th and 26th of October right here in Heber Springs, Arkansas. And what we thought we would do this during this session is to give you a little overview of the presenters, to give you an idea of the itinerary, and to encourage you, if you've not registered, to get that registration submitted and to plan on joining us for this fantastic first event. And with us tonight, I have Mr. Terry Cooper, the president of NRVIA, and we're showing you a picture there of Mr. Cooper. How are you this evening?
We're doing well. Let me tell you, it's beautiful, beautiful here in Ohio. It's such gorgeous colors. You can tell fall is here. So I'm really looking forward to this season we've got coming up, folks. Well, Mr. Anderson and I were talking today at lunch, and we were discussing all the different things we've got coming up, and we were just looking at the calendar and think, wow, it's not that far. Well, October the 25th and 26th is coming up. So what we wanted to do is just kind of give you an overview of what we have going on. We have some surprises for you, but we have some things we're going to go ahead and tell you about now, and maybe just save those surprises till you get there at conference. So without any further ado, we'll just jump in.
Surprises are always good, Mr. Cooper. That's a good thing.
Well, over the next few days, and between now and conference time, you will begin to start receiving some emails. And these emails will have attachments to them, giving you links to some of the material, some video, some of the material that we want you to be able to see of some of the different folks that are going to be doing presentation. The key person we're going to be dealing with who's really going to help us launch into this, and I'm calling him our instrument of change. His name is Simon T. Bailey. Now, Simon is our speaker, and now this gentleman came from Disney, and he actually goes around the country working with some major corporations, dealing with them, getting everybody on the same page. And the reason why we're doing this, we believe that because we have all of these inspectors coming from all different walks of life, we all need to be thinking the same, considering things the same, but we also need somebody to help us think outside the box. So by having him come to us, sharing his whole concept of inspiring us to brilliance, because folks, let me just tell you, Mr. Anderson and I have traveled across the United States this last 18 months, and we have met so many of you guys that have come in to the NRVIA organization, and you bring such knowledge, you bring such skill. But what we need to do is make sure that we're all saying the same thing, we're all saying the same language, speaking the same language, and we all see things from the same perspective. So what we're doing is we're going to bring Simon in. He's going to visit with us. Now, like I say, he brings a world of knowledge, but he's also going to give you some thought-provoking things, because every time I visit with him, I'm just coming away thinking, wow, I hadn't thought about that. And sometimes that's how change takes place. Somebody has to pull the curtain back and introduce us to it. So that's what he's going to do with it. And he's going to prick you just a little bit and make you uncomfortable. But just realize that's how we come about stepping up and creating the brilliance that we need to have with NRVIA as inspectors and the support people, the associate members that we have. So, Mr. Anderson, if you'll show us the agenda, I'd like everybody to kind of get a feel for what we're dealing with here. What we have is we're going to kick things off on Saturday. Now, it'll start off at 8, and what will take place is we'll have a little check-in. Everybody will get a chance to have coffee, because you know how it is. You're going to meet some folks that you've known from some of the classes you've taken, but then also you're going to get a chance to meet some others. And remember how we've always talked, it's networking. Develop the relationships, because these people may spawn an idea. They may be able to help you with some things that you're doing in inspection. So we want to give you, for that first hour, starting at 8 o'clock, a chance to network and spend time with everyone, okay? Now, at 9 o'clock, I'll get up and we'll begin to kind of start setting the tone. There's some things that I want to share with you, kind of where we're going, what's going to take place over the next 2 days. Because you thought if you've taken the 5-day classes, or you have taken the advanced inspector training courses, you thought you were tired puppies. I promise you, you're going to be wringing wet when you finish with these 2 days because we've got a lot of things packed in here. But if we do nothing more than we stir you up and let you see where we're going, the brilliance that we need you to come and go with us and lock arms with us so we can get into this because there's so much happening. I was listening to some podcasts today that were taking place with Greg Gerber, with the RV Daily Report. There's buzz going on. He was interviewing some folks that out in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And they interviewed some folks that were in Massachusetts, and they're beginning to see it. They said, yes, this is a very necessary thing, this RV inspection. So Simon's going to help us. He's going to, like I say, be an instrument of change for us. And then what will happen is he will kick things off at 9:30. Now, he rock and roll until probably right at about 11 o'clock. And then we'll give you guys a chance to break off and go to that little room down the hall. And then we're going to bring Mark Kohler in. I think most of you folks know who Mark Kohler is. If you've sat in the 5-day classes with Mr. Anderson, you know that this has been the attorney and the CPA. And folks, whether you know it or not, he has actually been a guiding force for us to help us make sure that we set up NRVIA as the association to help us build the credentials and also build the code of ethics that we need. So, we have him to thank for this. But the beautiful part is that he also does double duty for us. With him being a CPA, it makes a world of difference because he sees things from the legal aspect, but he also can tell us how to do things from the financial and from the tax aspect as well. So he's going to have a chance to visit with us and spend some time with us as well because there's some things that he's going to bring to the table. Now, expect to see some video from him as well over the next coming days between now and the show, the conference that we've got going on. Is there anything that you wanted to mention there, Mr. Anderson, where we're talking about Kohler or even Simon?
Well, I think they need to understand they're going to get a number of doses from Mr. Bailey. He's not going to lay it all on you at one time, folks. You're going to, as you see in the breakdown of the schedule, you're going to have 90 minutes with him, and in the first morning, and then you'll have another session in the afternoon. So it's going to be good because he's going to give you a lot of thought-provoking information, some of which you're going to need to literally analyze, to think about, to have time to ruminate on, if you want to use that word, to determine how is this truly going to impact my life. And as Mr. Cooper mentioned, he is an agent of change because the things he's going to be talking about are different psychological elements that we all need to be contemplating, and the whole premise is to develop that brilliance in us. And of course, what we're focusing on is for you to further improve your abilities to be a phenomenal RV inspector. That's what we're focusing on. And then Mr. Cooper already mentioned Mr. Kohler. Most of you already know my feelings about Mark Kohler. As far as I'm concerned, this is a gentleman of integrity that knows his stuff. And I feel privileged that we're going to have him with us in-house live. And he is working with many of you already. Some of you maybe have not made that step or taken that step to develop your entities yet. And folks, I am being very bold about this anymore because I've already listened to horror stories of individuals who have not utilized Mark's firm, and they've wasted money with trying to do things on their own through LegalZoom and other silly things just to save a buck, and ended up having to hire Mark's firm to fix it. So if you haven't got that entity developed, contact Mark before you come and get started, and then you're going to get a chance to actually meet him in person. So then it's lunchtime, Mr. Cooper.
And we've got some guests for you. His name is Greg Gerber. And now those of you that have been hanging out in the RV industry for a little while, you know he is the editor of RV Daily Report. And we've asked him to come. I want him to visit with some of you because I think he gets it. He really does. And I need him to meet some of you folks and to really see the depth of knowledge that's in the inspector ranks. Also, he'll be able to give us some perspective of what's going on in the industry. Those of you who've been following the industry, there's been a lot of changes. A lot of businesses are being bought and sold. Of course, now, he really sees this thing from the perspective also of the consumer. and the need for inspections. And so he's going to bring some perspective for us. And like I say, he'll be visiting with us while we're having lunch. So I think that will be good for him to be able to just kind of casually share his thoughts and give you some ideas and some things. Then at 2 o'clock, we're going to have the claims crusher come in. Now, Steve is telling me he's got a video that we're going to be able to send out to you. It was made specifically for you, so that way you can kind of grasp who this gentleman is, what he's doing for us. It's only like 2.5, 3 minutes, so it's not very long at all, but you'll get a chance to get a flavor of who he is and what he's doing. We need to make sure we had somebody on the team that could help us, because if you're going to go into business, you better make sure that you have all your bases covered. And we've talked about risk management, and he's going to be a major, major part of that for us. And with his background with litigation and being able to deal with some of the business matters with us, he can help us out there. And so he's going to put some things on the table for you, to give you some more things to think about, but also share with you what he can do to help us. And so I'm looking forward to having him there, because he's probably the newest member that we brought on board to help us with the direction that NRVI is going.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, we might do a little clarification there for some of the folks that have been on the NRVIA website over the past month since it went active back in January. You may recall seeing information about a Joe Ferry, who was an attorney out of Philadelphia. And the simplicity is, to keep the story short, he didn't have the time really to commit to developing himself as the RV inspector's attorney. So we went looking for a resource who was excited about getting involved in what we're doing, who had litigation background, and who understood what we were needing. And that's why Kevin Kennedy came on board. And Mr. Cooper is the one. I'm going to lay it where it belongs, Mr. Cooper. He's the one who says we're going to call him the RV claims crusher. Now, I don't think he'll come out in a big suit with a cape, but I hope if someone needs it done, yeah, I know. You just really never know. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I thought I'd throw that out there just so that people might be wondering, well, what happened to the Joe Ferry guy? He's very busy doing his other agenda, and it just didn't work out we didn't feel he was going to provide the quality of assistance and have the time for us now, as well as we grow larger and larger. So that's why Kevin Kennedy's on the scene.
Indeed. And then you're going to get set to with Simon Bailey. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to come back, hit you from a different angle. And I'll tell you, I've already seen the material. So, hey, I'm wondering if we ought to just go ahead and issue seatbelts to everybody, because he's going to hit us, folks. I'm telling you. So, but you know what? Like I've told you in the classes, we're paying him to do this to us. That's the crazy thing. But you know what? When you want to shake things up, if you want to make things happen, you've got to bring somebody in that can really stir the pot with us, and that's what we want. And we've talked to him on numerous occasions and said, this is what we need. These are the people that we have. And so he's very much aware of some of the career paths some of you've come through. And so be prepared for him to kind of stimulate things a little bit. It may be a little uncomfortable, but that's what we've asked him to do for us, because we need to get it so that way when we're stepping out here, we're all on the same page.
Absolutely. And we're not going to stimulate you folks without providing you an opportunity to actually have time to network and to share and to take some of the thoughts of what you gained from Simon and from Mark and Kevin during that first day, and the memories of what you will have experienced with Cooper's Kickoff, and that's all I'm going to say on that. You'll have the opportunity to actually network we're going to be at the Dam Site Pavilion right on the lake. It's going to be a beautiful evening. We're going to have a great barbecue meal and have the opportunity to literally sit and to visit with each other about the things that we're learning, how we can implement those, as well as have our presenters there with us so that you can have some one-on-one time visiting with them also.
Okay. What I've always been a big proponent of going to these events, but unfortunately sometimes the speakers are not accessible. In other words, you can hear them, you really get something from them, but something about that personal touch, being able to walk up and have discussion with them. So what we've tried to do is to keep this group small enough to where we could do that. You guys could spend time with them. So I'm going to just encourage you, if you don't walk up and shake their hand and introduce yourself to them, shame on you, because this is how we network, this is how we build relationships, and you'll be able to size people up, because if you can look them straight in the eye, you'll know if this is somebody that you really want to work with or somebody that you want to have actions and dealings with. But I think you're going to be impressed with Bailey and Kohler and Kevin, and there's some good people here. There really are some good, solid people, and I can't say that about some folks that we have met, and I've kind of had to look at them. Well, I just don't know if he or she would be the ones. But you know what? I can say that these folks are going to be a diamond for us, that we're going to be able to build the NRVIA and what I'd say advisory network, because that's what we've talked to all of them about. We need you folks to be advisors for us, just to coach us and direct us, because this industry that we're in is changing, but we also know that it's growing, and we are in a new industry. This has never been done before, so you are getting in on the ground floor and being able to see it, and you know what? It's going to have your thumbprint on it, because you're going to have some influence in it, and it'll be by interfacing with these gentlemen, because your conversations and your actions with them is going to give them a perspective of what's going on in our ranks.
And Mr. Cooper, these folks are going to need to find some time to get some sleep that night, because then we're going to turn around and we're going to give them more injections the next day, starting at 8:30 that next morning.
Yeah, we'll let you sleep in, okay? You won't have to be there at 8 on the second day, just 8:30, okay? So
we're generous.
Hey, those of you that have been involved in these 5-day classes, you know what we're talking about, this 7 o'clock stuff, you know? So this will be good. And then guess what? We'll kick her off again. I promise to go a little easier on you the second day. And I won't say how much, but let's just say there'll be purple monkeys involved, okay? And we'll just leave it at that. Then we're going to kick things off at 9 o'clock with Simon. And he is, folks, I mean, you better hang on, because he's coming in on steroids. We went easy on you the first day, but the second day he's going to have the whole morning. So he will give you a potty break. He's already assured me that's not a problem. But like I say, it's Katie bar the door, because we've asked him, hey, if you're coming, we want to make sure these folks get what they're paying for and get a full meal deal. So that's what he's going to do for us. And then, of course, we'll have lunch. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something for me, and I want you to think about this. We have an agenda for the lunch, and shall we go ahead and just tell them what we're going to ask them to do, Ms. Anderson, or do you think we ought to wait?
Oh, I think, well, you've said it, so let's go ahead and tell them.
Let's just love it. We have some nonprofit organizations, some folks that, you know how you see that there's some people in need, some organizations. And I will just tell you this, your lunch is already taken care of in your registration, but we're going to have a basket out by the lunches. So that way, if you want to pay for your lunch, and that all those monies will go directly to that nonprofit to help. And we will share with you who it is, and we will share you some information about what's going on and who they are. But, you know, it's strictly by choice, but we're going to ask you to, you know, if you want to make a donation, hey, then just say, hey, I'm asking for your lunch money. You remember how they used to always talk about the bully at school? You know, give me your lunch money. Well, that's the way this is going to be. We're asking you for your lunch money, even though you've already paid for it once. But because you know what? We know that we have to give as much as to be able to receive things. And you know, I think you folks, we've all talked about this. We've got to sow. We've got to sow into people's lives. We've got to sow into the culture, the society we live in, and so we're going to use this as an opportunity for the lunches, okay? So won't belabor the point, but just understand that we all can do some things to help others around us.
Oh, well done.
Then we're going to bring in Bill Coster. Now, Bill Coster is the gentleman that's going to talk to us about extended service agreements. We have looked at some of these organizations. We've looked high and low, behind and underneath, and Protective is the company that he supports. Now, Protective is also the Extended Service Agreement Company, Recreational Vehicle Dealers Association, RVDA. They only have one organization that they underwrite, say this is the one. Because I will tell you, not all Extended Service Agreement companies do what you think they'll do. And being a technician, having done service work, let me just tell you, sometimes when you do work for folks and they flip out a card and say, this is my extended service agreement company, you think, oh dear, boy, they got taken, because you know the history. Some of these guys don't pay their claims. Some of them sell the policy, put the money in their pocket, and then go belly up on you. But Protective has done they are the A+ of this thing. So honestly, we've asked Bill to come in and talk a little bit about extended service agreements, what we're doing. So whether you're working with, as an independent with NRVIA, so you have your own company and you just do nothing but your own inspections, here's an opportunity for you to be able to have extended service agreements. Or if you're working for the company that Steve and I know quite a bit about, and you know as well, is the RV Inspection Connection, we're going to utilize them for extended service, because we want to be able to offer these buyers an opportunity that they can't get anywhere else. Because there's many times people will buy a used unit and they can't get extended service agreement because dealers won't offer it to them unless it went through their lot. Now, there are some third parties that are putting it out there, but, well, enough said, okay? So we want to make sure that we present somebody and give this man a chance to visit with you and to share, because I don't think a lot of folks truly understand that an extended service agreement is not a factory warranty. Sometimes it's sold as that, but it's not. So Bill's going to come in and talk with us a little bit about it, okay?
And that was specifically, Mr. Cooper, that was specifically what we asked him to really spend some time on, to help them have a good understanding about some of the differences between those extended service agreements. So that's one of the things they can expect from Bill.
Yeah. I had worked around him for several years, but after spending some time with him, I have a much deeper understanding. And it's like, wow, I didn't know that. I had misconceptions. And so I want to make sure that, we leapfrog you into this so you can see this is the difference. And so there's the good, there's some bad ones, and there's some okay ones. But we want to make sure we put you in front of somebody who knows his business and can share it with us, okay? It doesn't cost you anything to listen and to learn, so that's the main thing. That's why we're bringing him in. And he was so gracious to come, and because he had some other appointments, so he's basically going to come spend time with us, then he's going to have to leave. So just be aware that if you get a chance to meet him, you're going to have to do it either before he does his presentation or shortly thereafter, because he'll be leaving. Then at 3 o'clock, we're going to bring in Tom Johnson with JG Lubricant. Now, the reason why we're doing all of this, because you realize that you'll be able to pick up 16 hours of continuing ed for your certification. So we felt like that all of these speakers will be able to bring things to us, and I wanted to make sure that we presented from the oil analysis, the fluid analysis that we've all talked about. We've already seen some situations. We've already had some inspections take place, and the oil analysis came back, and the people had to make ooh, wait a minute, I don't think I want that thing. I'm not wanting to buy that money pit. But on the surface, that engine looked good, or that transmission looked good, until they got in there and got to looking at it, and it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. And a lot of this were things that we found through the analysis. So Tom Johnson, now this guy is an engineer of an engineer. If you want to talk Allison transmissions, this guy can talk chapter and verse with you. I sat around and visited with him one afternoon, and it's just like, wow, this guy's got such depth of knowledge, and he doesn't mind sharing it with you. And he will talk about the different types of inspections, the fluid analysis that can be done. And this is the reason why we went with the advanced samples, because we didn't want the basic. We want the advanced samples, so that way we can find out what's floating around this oil. And he's going to talk with us about that and share it with us. And here's another man you're going to want to get to know. Now, just realize that he's a busy man, but he is also serving on our advisory committee to help us and to guide us, because we felt like we needed to have somebody that could help us with these engines and transmissions, because with so many of these motorhomes coming up for inspection, we needed somebody on our team to help us. And so that way you've got somebody to help you with the information. So when it comes back, we know what we've got, and he can interpret it for us. So with that being said, okay, then we're going to take a break, and you're going to be thankful, okay, because you will be tired puppies, but that's okay. Sometimes we gotta take us a little snap, a little short nap, and kind of recharge your batteries, because then we kick things off at 5 o'clock, and we're going to start with the NRVIA banquet with Joe McAdams. Now, don't know if you do your little Google research on him, he's a pretty sharp guy. He really is, and he's been around a while. But he's serving as chairman of Amerigo. And Amerigo is a new magazine that's come out talking about the RVing experience, and a lot of history there with this man. I mean, when you think about where this man's come from, the companies he has served as the chief executive officer, we've asked him to present the history that as he has seen it and through his career, what he sees going on now, and we've asked him to tell us, look in your crystal ball and tell us what you're seeing in coming years. Because I think that as inspectors, we need to know where we're going, and sometimes you have to have the historian to kind of coach you on where we've been, because we know history repeats itself. So he's going to be able to give us some insight on some things. And good, it was one of those really weird things. We were looking for who could we have that could come in, and Lady E and I have been writing for Amerigo, so we kind of had a real good feel for what they did, and we felt very good about who they were. And then we got to talking to the president of Amerigo, and we got to talking about who could come and do. And he said, well, there's a guy, and he said Joe McAdams. Turns out Joe McAdams lives in Arkansas, so it's like, hey, you don't have to explain this one to us. We can understand this. So we reached out to him. He said, absolutely, I'd love to come. So I quite honestly look for him to be there pretty much the whole conference. But so here's a gentleman you're definitely want to get to know, because he's going to be able to give you some perspective. So come prepared to meet and greet and spend time with these people. But I also want to share with you, if you do not network with others, shame on you, because there's a lot of your fellow brothers and sisters that we need you to get to know, because there's some relationships that can be developed here. And so it's going to be important that you develop these relationships for down the road. You're going to have a chance to meet other IMTs. And if you haven't met your IMT that's in your region, well, you're going to get a chance to meet them as well. Okay? So far as I know, I think everybody's going to be there. Now, this is also going out to a group of folks that maybe haven't signed up yet. So let me just say this to you. Come, because we've gone as far as to what we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to let you register. What we're going to do until October the 20th is we're going to give a discount. Now, the reason why we had to set a deadline is because, when you order meals with these restaurants that they're going to bring in and cater for us, you have to give them a date. Say, okay, this is how many we have coming. So it's important that we know. And there are a few tables. Now, guys, this is not going to be, an auditorium of 20 zillion people in here. It's actually going to be, quite honestly, not that large of a group. I look for us to be bumping the numbers up around 200 people. So come prepared to be involved with that group of people, and it'll be small enough to where we can interface with everybody and give you a chance to network, greet, meet, talk with others, and to talk with these speakers. And like I said, look them straight in the eye and know who you're talking to.
All right, and as you already mentioned, Mr. Cooper, as I scroll back up here, they can register and still secure that seat, save themselves $25 off of the registration fee. The registration fee is $249. That does include all of the seminars, as well as includes the 2 lunches, as well as the barbecue meal and the banquet on Sunday evening. And so we encourage them to get in there before the 20th and get that ticket purchased so that we know they'll be a part of this group, and we look forward to having them there. The other thing I would mention too is that if you are going to possibly come in an RV, you will need to understand that there is camping available at the Army Corps of Engineers operations. We have campgrounds all around the lake. They do not take reservations that time of the year. Do not let that be of concern to you. There is more than ample camping available. They're going to be actually have more campgrounds open for us this year than ever before, all the way through to the end of October. And there are also a number of different motel operations that have housing available. So don't wait till the 20th. Get out there. If you've been thinking about doing this, get your registration put in, get your seat secured so that you can come and participate in this first annual event. And we look forward to having them with us, don't we, Mr. Cooper?
Absolutely. And this will be a good time for us to all hang out together and really spend some time together. Now, there will be some seriousness, but there'll also be some fun. And so just understand that we're here to bond and spend time together. And like I say, we've got some surprises for you. So without letting the cat out of the bag, I'm just going to say come prepared and just be, well, you just never know what you might see.
So with that said, Mr. Cooper, I think we'll encourage them to go to nrvia.org. That's nrvia.org. That's where you'll find this page that we've been showing you, and you can register right online and get that ticket secured, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Heber Springs on October 25th and 26th. Anything else?
Come on, everybody. Jump in. Let's go. It's time to get with it.
All right. We'll see you all in Heber in just a few weeks. Bye-bye, y'all.